Deciphering the Metal Age. The age of metals, which has historically marked human development, corresponds in code to the opening of the portal and the passage forward. The sequence begins with the Copper Age and other native metals such as gold and silver, and develops according to precise numerological keys. Copper and bronze. In Hebrew, copper has a value of 20, which it reduces to 2, indicating the separation of the project into the 2 stages. In the Bible, copper and bronze are often referred to by the same word. The concept of separation is connected to Moses' serpent, as bronze, a copper alloy, symbolizes the opening of the portal, which in turn is associated with Jesus Christ. In John 3:14-15 we read, "And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that everyone who believes in him may have eternal life." This phrase indicates the passage from the outward project, represented by Moses, to the return project, represented by Jesus Christ. By eternal life, we do not mean an infinite existence, but the Hebrew term olam, that is, the cycle. In this way, people are conveyed the concept of the 1,000-year cycle, which is connected to the plan of God Satan. We then move on to the Iron Age, whose numerical value is 14 reduced to 5, which means half and means, or the medium, the person. This progression of metals reflects the symbolism of the statue of Daniel, which starts from the gold of the head and ends with iron mixed with the clay of the feet, conceals a hidden meaning. The term statue is linked to the concept of image mentioned in Genesis 1:26. The image of God Satan is connected to the Hebrew word zelem, which means statue, image, and shadow, that is, a covering that projects the person into the darkness of the degenerative project becoming the image of God. This symbolism is linked to the beasts described in the book of Daniel and in Revelation 13, in particular to the beast with the number 666, which corresponds to a name of man. In Hebrew, the word Shem, name, has a numerical value of 9, identical to that of Chai, living. It is crucial to note that Chai does not mean life in an absolute sense, since in Hebrew, such a term does not exist in the singular. This is significant. Life is generated only by the life generator, while God Satan has no life of his own and does not generate anything. Metal is linked to the concept of fusion, which has a double function. Separation, fusion extracts and separates metals, symbolizing the detachment of the project and people from the I and union, understood as union with God Satan through the change of consciousness. Etymologically, the term metal meant quarry or mine. The quarry indicates the return project, where what is extracted, the ore, represents the project and the quarry itself, the means. The word fusion is related to smelting. The molten statue, molten metal, symbolizes fusion as a simultaneous union and separation. In the cipher, this represents separation from the generator of life and union with God Satan, marking a reverse transition, change of consciousness, a pattern that mirrors the death and resurrection of Jesus, indicating the death of the I and rebirth in a degenerative state. The meaning of jet is in turn connected to the terms word and parable. Parable of harabalo means word and is related to symbol, symbalo, to put together, and devil, diabalo. Devil means deceiver or separator, from the Greek dia, through, and balo, movement, motus, connected to reason. The concept of balo jet represents separation and the forward movement, which in the Bible is symbolically linked to Easter. God Satan, through the concept of balo jet, advances, gaining dominion over people's consciousness. Initially in the 53rd year, God Satan was backward, operating through his Nephilim allies. After the 182nd year, with the creation of the network of consciousness, mental communication, God passes forward. This step, age, is related to the casting and other symbols described. Words themselves, like symbols, are visual representations of language. The word jet is connected to the project of forward, indicating the change of consciousness induced by God Satan, and is in turn linked to the term ghetto. The Jews in Germany lived in the ghetto, which symbolically represents a foundry for this change of consciousness. The Jewish ghetto symbolizes a put-on-hold project. From the opening of the portal in the 53rd year to the transition forward in the 182nd year, there are 129 years of suspension. The word ghetto is related to jet, which means forward, and indicates the domination of consciousness by God Satan, who passes forward by taking control of it. Symbolically, the ghetto where the Jews lived in Germany represents a foundry, casting, and a fusion, understood as the two complementary functions, separation from the life generator and union with God Satan. Symbolically, the Holocaust marks its completion. The 6 million constitute a code for the completion of 666 and the creation of the network of consciousness. According to the principle of truth, this figure appeared in many publications well before Hitler. This event closes the project and prepares the return, marked by the migration of Jews to Palestine. In this context, the 6 million Jews do not represent natural persons, but a coded biblical concept used to convey the project. In fact, according to the Codex, the Hebrew term ivrit, which means to cross or to pass forward, represents the project coming from the pre-existence and indicates the entry of God Satan into existence. This concept is related to the word Yahweh, which means the verb to be, and indicates its presence in this dimension.